his desire to be at ASU is really what solidified him as the choice for us. So leadership matters now more than ever. Proven winning track record is something that we really value in our department, and Coach Bennett was all those things for him.
You had talked about how he was at the top of your list. I mean, did you talk to a lot of other people too, or was it like once you knew he was interested, you really didn't have to look in another direction?
Yeah, we talked to a number of candidates. We had a lot of people reach out to us with interest. I think I mentioned that in the first couple of days after the position was open, that we had a list of people that we thought may be interested, and then we had a number of people coming out of the woodwork expressing interest. Sitting head coaches, assistant coaches at all levels of the sport, a number of people involved in NBA, coaching staffs or front office that thought they were a fit for our job. But Coach Bennett was always the top name on the list. And so early on, when we identified that he had as much interest in us as we had in him, it really allowed us to narrow our focus and focus a lot of time and energy on conversations with him, getting a deal done, and then preparing to get him into.
Has he signed the contract yet?
We're working through red lines. I know you all reported that it hasn't signed. I don't find that unusual. We're working through some final legal red lines on the document. It's close to being signed.
Graham, we heard Dr.
Well, the health issues weren't there until he arrived to campus, and so I think we're very fortunate that he was in Tempe in the Valley the Tuesday afternoon that he arrived in. As he mentioned, he was able to meet with the team. We were able to get a few things done, and then that afternoon started not feeling so well, so we kind of shut down the day from that point. By the next morning, we knew he needed some medical attention. John Anderson, our trainer, did an incredible job kind of just identifying the situation. We got Mayo Clinic involved, and as Coach mentioned, he's back on his feet. No limitations moving forward, and so just grateful that he was in the Valley at the time that he was here.
Graham, we heard Dr. Crow's stance on NIL moving forward. What is the resourcing for Randy's program here?
Yeah, I mean, NIL's here, and we're going to be competitive in that space. So we've maxed out full participant in rev share. We've added 200 scholarships as a department. We're leveling up in our investment in our programs, particularly football and basketball, as the ones that carry so much attention and so much revenue upside for us. And NIL is a part of that conversation. So we've been building that infrastructure. The members of the Sun Angel Collective are here. A number of our corporate partners are here that are finding value and investing in our student athletes and using this platform to promote their business. And again, for us in a metropolitan area like Phoenix, that's a great advantage for us as we continue to build out the infrastructure. So do we live at the top end of that? No. Is that going to be our playbook? No. We feel like we've got a number of attributes to recruit athletes to ASU and not just lead with the financial outcome. Lead about the student athlete experience, lead into the education, lead into the place to live, lead into the network that you get by becoming a send-up, playing that long game. And there's examples starting to bear some fruit. Jordan Tyson would be at the top of that list of somebody that could have left and didn't, saw the value in the elite coaches that he was a part of, saw the value in being part of this community, saw the value in becoming a legend in a program. You're seeing that in softball. Mackenzie Brown, top 15 pick in softball, could have left and didn't. Valued her teammates, valued her environment, valued her coaching staff, and now is a high pick in the softball draft. I think we'll have the same outcome coming up here in baseball next month with Cole Carlone, who is stuck with the development program, learned from great coaches, is projected to be a first-round pick, and so you're starting to see these examples of young athletes that are getting the benefit of the ASU network. And NIL is a part of it. That's going to continue to be a part of it. We're going to continue to generate those resources and find those solutions. But we're excited to sell more than just NIL at this particular moment in time.
Can I follow up on that? With basketball, do you guys think you'll be competitive to the average in the Big 12?
It's hard to really know. I mean, there's really no baseline. There's really no transparency. We feel like we've had a number of conversations with Coach Bennett and the coaching staff to understand what do we need to field a team that will compete in the Big 12, and we've been able to do that.
With him being a guy that came up in Tempe, how can he use that to his advantage now that he's back?
Well, there's been a number of people since he got the job that have stepped up and said, I have a business I want to support. Let me understand what NIL looks like for my business, and that's been able to really resource a lot of the momentum that he's been able to use in the transfer portal. And again, the attraction is the coaching staff. The attraction is being a part of the next chapter of Sun Devil basketball, but also his network and his connectedness throughout the East Valley has borne immediate fruit with people stepping up saying, I know what he's about, I understand what he's going to bring into the conversation, I own a business, I want to get behind what he's building, and that's immediately paid some dividends and will continue to do so.
Graham, you talked about obviously Gonzaga leading the conference, but there were some of the conversations you had. You mentioned the school down south, obviously, him being at St. Mary's for all those years, and Tommy Lloyd. I mean, I don't know if you really the same players, but Coach Bennett, him and his staff won some battles with international players. Was that kind of an extra talking point when you were talking to him? Is familiar with Tommy Lloyd, knowing what he likes to do?
In a way, I think there were a lot of attributes that were really attractive. Certainly his success in the tournament, right? 12, 13 appearances in the tournament, advancing to a Sweet 16, mentioned earlier, the last 4 or 5 years being arguably his best job as a coach and a leader of a program. But there's a lot of takeaways from the WCC that have worked, and we've seen that with Tommy. Tommy translated as an assistant in Gonzaga to U of A. He's had incredible success there. We have a ton of respect for that program. But also Molly Miller and the winning track record. And so seeing that other coaches from the WCC have translated and had success in the Big 12, seeing like coaches like Coach Miller who have had success in the mid-major level and how that's translated to ASU was helpful for us. His pedigree internationally was very attractive, and knowing that he was one of the first coaches decades ago to be able to tap into the South Pacific, get talent from Australia. You look at his roster at St. Mary's where you've got players from throughout Europe. He was excited in our conversations to know that ASU has an interest in Africa. That's a really important continent full of talent. And in short order, 45% of the world's youth will be on the continent of Africa. So basketball is relevant in a number of different factors. And for us at ASU, where our university is so international, so dynamic, the fact that he can still live in Australia, the fact that he can recruit in Europe, the fact that he has access to Africa now because of ASU is super attractive in terms of how he builds his team. But he also pointed out there's so much talent on the West Coast. And he's got that recruiting network of Pacific Northwest, throughout California, Arizona, New Mexico, Utah, Nevada, etc. And he mentioned in his remarks, we've got to be more relevant throughout the valley. We've got to recruit heavier in the state of Arizona. That's a winning playbook, in my opinion, not only for basketball, but for any of our programs. You keep the best talent home, you recruit elite talent from across the nation or across the globe where you can, but it starts with Arizona. And it was fun. Last week I got a message from a high school coach that said, hey, the ASU coaches, including Coach Bennett, are in our gym. We haven't seen an ASU coach in our gym in 15 years. And so the power of the presence locally, what that'll do for local recruiting is very exciting. So all those factors matter. The pedigree of other coaches that have translated from the WCC, coaches who have won at any level that are winning at ASU or winning in the Power Four, the recruiting network and how that can only amplify at ASU, all factors in the decision.
How impressed are you with DJ Wallace and Bryce Ford committing to being a Sun Devil and deciding to play under Randy Bennett?
Yeah, we're excited that they see the value in their own ASU experience. You know, VJ was a player that we were really excited about last year. Injuries derailed kind of what his year would have been. Enormously talented, a lot of upside. We all saw what Bryce Ford could do. That's a really important, great shooter, great homegrown talent, and so keeping guys that have been around the program is going to help the other guys acclimate, not just from a basketball standpoint, from an academic standpoint, from a lifestyle standpoint, etc. So it's nice that they had a vote of confidence. I think, frankly, there were other players that wanted to stay here. There are factors working against athletes in this moment where the agents have a really big voice in where players are going. We had a number of players that wanted to return, and their agency felt like that was maybe not in the best interest. Perhaps for the agency more so than the player, a sign of the times in that regard. But excited that Bryce and DJ see a value in staying here, and they'll be great conduits as the new team members come in and